Alrighty, so normally we talk about weightlifting. We're kind of going to talk about that today, but as I've mentioned probably quite a few times before, I coach Olympic weightlifting on the side, and that is the thing that I've been doing now for over 3 years. Love everything about the sport. Competed for 3 years, have coached for over three now. So that's mainly what I talk about, and that's mainly what all of my social media is about. Because for that, I work as an independent contractor for Power and Grace Performance. For my real job, I work as a W-2 contractor, or W-2 for a contractor that then owns a contract for the U.S. Army. With that comes, an NDA, comes some classified and some information that I cannot share with anyone besides other people of the classification who are on a need-to-know basis. So, don't share too much about that, because then also in the contract, like, we can't post photos of soldiers, so I can't do any social media around that. Whole lot of reasons, but again, so not big touch on what I do with the Army. But today, because when I was going through my notes, I did not have any ideas of what to talk about today. And in my notes, the only ideas that were still in there that I hadn't touched on yet were all related to the Army. So this is going to require a little bit of a debrief first on kind of some topics here. So I work for the 27th Engineers Battalion. We are airborne combat engineers. We, as a 27th Engineer Battalion, fall under the 20th Engineers Brigade, which falls under the 18th Airborne Corps. The 18th Airborne Corps is known as America's Contingency Corps. What that means is our units in the 18th Airborne Corps can and will be on any site in the entire world in 18 hours. So all of our soldiers in the entire Corps have to be ready to be boots on the ground within 8 to 18 hours at all times. So if something happens in the world where something just pops the fuck off, 18th Airborne Corps is the one who are boots on the ground within that 18 hours to handle and deal with that situation as seen fit. So when we look at an entire corps, so our brigade is, I think, 2,000 people, a division is like 7,000, so there's, I don't know, random ballpark here, maybe 30 to 50,000 soldiers in 18th Airborne Corps. That is quite a lot of people. So when you're saying we need to have 30 to 50,000 soldiers ready to deploy at a moment's notice and be anywhere in the world in 18 hours at a moment's notice, you're asking a lot. Obviously, you're in the military, so a lot is asked of you, clearly. Regardless of your views on the military, that is what we are currently working with in the U.S. When we are looking at our soldiers need to be ready for any sort of situation in 18 hours, the idea of periodization dies right then and there. Because you can't periodize for that. War happens. A lot of our soldiers, most deployments, are very planned out in advance, and you get sent out, everything is nailed down to a T. But if our soldiers need to be somewhere within 18 hours, it's because something popped the fuck off that we cannot plan for, and we need to be ready to go right now. So we can't have these giant periodization cycles where we're going that little fucking stimulus recovery adaptation curve. So we have a stimulus, we then drop underneath that little line, we're in our fatigue, and then boom, we go up and we have super compensation. That cannot be a structure in our military forces. We cannot have to have soldiers ready at an 18 hours notice at all times, but then also be willingly getting them worse and putting them in a worse position every 3 or so weeks to then be super compensating. We can't do that, because then also we look at their training calendars. Their training calendars are all over the fucking place. You will never have a group of soldiers, no matter what level you're working with, squad, team, all the way up to fucking company and brigade, where every single soldier can make it to all 5 sessions of PT for an entire week. Not gonna have that. Even my best sappers, who are my combat engineers, who are competing for an actual competition to be the best 2 people in everyone who wears a sapper tab, we can't get all of them there. We have only had 3 days where we had 100% attendance. 3 days out of a total of, I think, 70 so far. And of that, our weekly average for the past 2 weeks was 35% and 43%. Last week was 75%, so that was a big increase, but even that is a 75% average attendance over 10 sessions. It's not very good. Now, why is that? Well, they have a fucking job to do. Like, the military is very demanding. You're getting pulled a lot of ways. There's a lot that is being asked of you. So because of the calendar that these soldiers have to maintain and all the obligations they have to get to, and then because of the fact that we need to be ready to send them out to fight wars, to fight battles in an 18 hours notice, that whole, we're going to build you up, break you down, and then super compensate week 4, you're going to be perfect. All right, cool. That is going to work in a laboratory setting. But we go to the fucking real world, this super compensation idea you have isn't going to fucking work, because your week 3, the goal can be to break them into the ground and we're going to get this excess fatigue so week 4 we can super compensate. Well, that doesn't matter if they get pulled into the field that week. So then week 3, your big old fatigue week just got completely eliminated. They can maybe do 1 session and then the idea is completely fucking thrown out. Or your week 4, they're super compensated. We're going to see all these massive results. Oh, we have a range this day. Oh, we're getting pulled for, everyone has CQ or staff duty this day. We're getting pulled for a bunch of other shit. Because of the nature of the job, because of the demands of the job, because of just the fucking world right now, and the state of the Middle East and of Eastern Europe and the state of Asia and a bunch of other shit, the state of the entire fucking world, their calendars are full to the brim at all times. Even when they're pulled from duty to do a specific task, they're still being pulled so many different directions. You cannot have this perfect 4-week periodized approach. We cannot approach training the military like we approach training college athletes. And now that becomes an issue because every single coach who is every single coach now who is in H2F. So that's what I work for, Holistic Health and Fitness. It's the Army's new approach to getting contractors, getting civilians to help out their units. Special forces in all the branches, all special operations have had this for a while. NASA has had this for their astronauts for a while. Air Force has had it for some of them, contracting for a while. Marines have had it for a little bit. Army is finally diving in headfirst to make this happen as well. Every single coach, strength and conditioning coach, who makes it into the military sector, 90% are coming from collegiate sports. Probably 10% are prior service, and then they're just going straight from prior service into that. Most, probably half, are probably prior service and then went the collegiate route and then are pulling over. And then another half are just straight civilians, no prior service. We just went straight from collegiate or private sector to here. Every single coach then coming over is coming in with this idea like, all right, I have these athletes, I own them. All they do is school, practice, and lift. Nothing else. I can control every single stressor in their day-to-day. Therefore, we can have these perfectly periodized approaches. The thing is, though, that's a made-up fairy tale land. Like, that doesn't fucking exist in the military. You don't own a single thing of them, especially as a civilian. If you are just getting embedded into a unit, people don't listen to you at all. They need to see that you actually understand what their job is, what they actually do. You need to become part of the culture. You need to just kind of like bro the fuck out with them and put yourself through some hard shit with them before they even start to listen to you. You can't just come in and fucking hardball them and be like, hey, you're gonna fucking do this because I said so. That doesn't fucking work. A lot of things that we do in the collegiate and private sector just don't fucking work with the military, and periodization is one of those things. You are going to be much better off just going with a straight fucking linear periodized approach. Like, all right, week 1, 3x8, week 2, 3x10, 3x12, 3x15, increasing weight, increasing reps, whatever you're trying to do over time, just simply because of the fact that we need our soldiers to be at peak performance at all times. So we can't just fucking burn them out every third week and then expect them to still be able to perform their duties, especially if they're infantry and they're doing a lot more, especially if they're fucking airborne like our people are, and they're jumping out of planes every 2 to 6 weeks. That's a lot of fucking load on the body. Landing out of an airplane multiple times, especially like some of our guys have, we've had one who's hit 100 fucking jumps, and like half these people are broken. They're good portion of them are getting 100% disability because of what they do for a living. We can't just treat the gym as a place to break them down and have this perfect, we go up and then we break you down and we super compensate and we just completely burn you to a fucking crisp every other week, every third week, whatever your periodization approach is. That does not work. We need to have our soldiers ready to go peak performance at all times, best we can, if they're just conventional military. Special cases like the best sapper competition that I'm running, I have them, they don't have a job besides training. So they are kind of in that professional athlete realm, Division 1 athlete realm right now. But very, very special case. So you are going to be much better off with soldiers doing just a straight linear periodized approach. Just trying to increase weight, increase reps, just do a little bit more week after week. Increase that stimulus however you can week after week. Because you are never going to get a consistent schedule with them. Whatever level you're working with, whether it be soldier, team, squad, company, whatever fucking level of structure you are working with, you're never going to get a consistent every single week, everyone showing up all 5 days, all the time, week after week. It's not going to happen. Schedules, their training calendars do not line up with that, and that is not going to work. So instead of just trying to force the square peg into the round hole, coaches, especially those coming from the collegiate realm, because it's so fucking different, and coaches do not get told that before they get brought in. They just figure that out day one, and then it's a giant fucking culture shock. We need to adapt our training style. And this, now bringing it all back full circle to weightlifting, is the same thing with weightlifting. We can't have this super structured approach because most of us do not have actual professional athletes. Most of us do not have athletes who are on a Team USA stipend, who have all these sponsorships where their entire job is weightlifting and fulfilling their contractual obligations to the sponsors. Most of us do not have that. As a result, we cannot control all these stressors in their lives. As a result, we then need to make adaptations to the training program and then gradually try to increase that stimulus, stacking as many perfect weeks on top of each other as we can. The entire goal should just be stacking perfect weeks, stacking good weeks of training back to back to back for as long as we can. And that will give you, for anyone who has an actual life that is more than just train, sleep, repeat. So anyone who isn't a professional athlete, a college athlete, or just like a fucking 16-year-old kid just getting into lifting, that periodization structure will not work. Anyone besides those groups, that extremely structured approach will not work because life happens. Whether it's work, whether it's military, it's just fucking anything. We need to be much more adaptable with our training, and the goal, again, just needs to be getting the athlete to stack as many good weeks as possible, getting the soldier to stack good weeks of training, and progressively building that over time. Be a lot more adaptable with your approach. Be a lot more open-minded. We don't need to be perfect. We just need to get a little bit better week by week. Perfection is going to kill you, and it is going to kill your athletes. Just try to be a little better every session, every week, every month, and go from there.